Hey guys, welcome back to Team Death Slinger. My name is Peter, and today we're looking at Filipino Jesus' security control profile. I hate playing against this deck. This deck is the biggest pain in my butt. It's really control heavy, tons of recovery, and just a general nuisance to play against. So we're gonna have Harry walk us through his deck profile, look at some of his tech choices, and talk about maybe why he built it. So go right ahead.
Hell yeah. Let's get right to it. So, security control. It's what I like to call make better decisions than your opponent with easier decisions to choose from.
Yeah.
So to start off with the eggs, we're gonna run 4 Viximon. I was starting with Toko just because I completely forgot that this card even existed until Peter said something. And the amount of draw power that you get from just this egg is absolutely insane for the deck.
Yes.
Being able to just draw whenever you play quite literally any option card is amazing. So its effect is on your turn once per turn. When you use an option card with a cost of 2 or more, you draw 1. I am almost certain there is not a single option in this deck that is below 2.
Yeah.
So you're going to be drawing every time that you use an option card. The fun thing about this deck is that you can either go brainless, or if you want to go really in depth with it, you don't always want to draw. So sometimes you'll just have your egg or rookie on top of your egg and hatching, and you just don't push it out because you don't want to overdraw. The big consensus with this deck, the way I like to play it, is pretty normally just deck out your opponent. So if you overdraw, you're inevitably kind of just screwing yourself.
Yep. Yeah,
But
you've definitely decked me out at least like 2 or 3 times playing Minerva into that.
yeah, I mean, when we first test played this, we thought that the one of Tokomon that I have, at the time I ran it at 4, and just getting to draw off of a recovery I thought was bonkers at the time. But then every now and then I felt like, man, I get really low on my hand size right when I get to like that last bit of deck that my opponent has that I need to deck out. The Viximon is just nuts. Like, you will practically always have a full hand if you're making great decisions and your matchup is good. If your matchup is bad, it's just nice to have that gas.
Yeah. The difference from switching from Tokomon to Viximon was kind of crazy because we had like 2 or 3 games when you first built the deck, and you just kept running out of cards. And part of my plan to beat the deck was, well, once he uses all his options in his hand, he's kind of screwed, especially if you don't draw into your MagnaMons or your
Right.
Aces early. And then you switch to the Viximon after I suggested it, and it doesn't happen anymore. Your hand is just always full of cards because you're gonna play one option and then you're gonna get a card back, so you're just always net neutral on card size. So
Yep. Option dot deck. So the one of Tokomon, um, for a while I was running just 4 eggs, and then I thought about it and I messed with the deck tech a little bit, and the list allowed me to have more rookies, which I inevitably ended up at the time really wanting more rookies because floodgates are great for this deck. You obviously don't go up a line. You're not stacking. You're kind of just hard playing stuff left and right, controlling the board state. It's pretty tempo-y, which is nice. It's just your basic control. Um, so I went with the decision of 5 eggs. I think my rookies are 6. I have 6 rookies. So if the game goes long enough, the last rookie I'll hard play, but you never know. Sometimes you do hard play rookie just so you don't put it on a Viximon or Tokomon and drop too many cards and you know what to do with. So it all depends. Just as long as you're making good decisions, out tempoing your opponent, controlling the board state, you're playing it right. Um, so that's why we have the one of Tokomon. And this card's effect is your turn once per turn. When a card is added to your security stack, draw 1. You add a lot of cards to your security stack. So one of Tokomon for Vixie.
excellent.
On to the rookies. We're going with 2 Pillomon. I went with 2 Pillow just because well, actually, I can't remember if I play any cards that just play by effect, but at the time I was using what was it, Zort Defeat?
Yeah, from security.
And so it felt kind of bad just like having the Pillomon because I'm like, oh, here's Pillomon, you can't play, and then they hit my security, and it's like, oh, I don't get my
Huge
Big
sword defeat.
reward now.
Yeah. Yeah, I came up a couple times.
Yeah, and it hurts. And in my specific play group, the majority of the people at our table don't really play a lot of cards by effect, so this was primarily
For me.
for you.
Yeah, this for me.
um, but it's still a good choice nonetheless. So I think 2 of is great, especially because I'm running 4 Cutemon, and I really like Cutemon. Um, so I mean, you've got your egg and raising, and you go over this, you get to draw. Next turn, you push it out. You're just spamming out option cards. You're just refilling your hand constantly with options that are just overpowered. It feels great.
Yep. And
Um,
that Cutemon doesn't even hit you because you don't run trainings. You don't have level 4, so
yep, exactly. So, and it's nice. Sometimes you don't want to just put it over. Sometimes you don't want to draw just by, digivolving over your egg. So you just hard play it. And obviously, just like any other floodgate, it's still fantastic. So,
yep.
Cutemon's great. Opponent can't reduce Digivolution costs. So we got our 6 rookies, and we just completely skipped level 4. So we'll go on to level 5. Um, for MagnaAngemon ACE, pretty standard. It is a very powerful card in this deck. I really like slapping this guy down turn 1. I mean,
Hate
for
it.
4 cost, it just feels so good because the other card that we run, the regular MagnaAngemon, at the time it was goated. You didn't really care that you were giving him 7 memory or however much. You get to recovery, but this guy recovers, blows a guy up. I mean, for 4. So his effect: hand counter blast digivolve on play, and when digivolving, if you have 5 or fewer security cards, recover 1. Then for the turn, one of your opponent's Digimon gets -1 KDP for each card in your security stack. And this deck loves to have a very tall security stack. So most of the time you're gonna be blowing something up.
Yep.
Um, it's also just really fun because of some other combo pieces we have in the deck.
Yeah.
So hard playing this turn 1 feels good. If you're going second, I mean, you wait for them to play something. Maybe you stall a turn. Maybe you just pass. Passing is always a really good option. You don't always have to do something on your turn with this deck. And then let's say they push out the stack. You hard play this, blow up their body. Now you got an 8K on the board that you can also combo off with some other stuff that we have in the deck yet to show. So Blast Ace, really, really good card. And then we've got 4 of MagnaAngemon. I got 1 of each of the arts.
Yeah, you do.
Um, Still feels bad paying a lot of money for
Oh
these
yeah.
so I
Yeah.
gotta use them somehow. Yeah, I mean, MagnaAngemon. What else is there to say? 7 hard cast, on play recovery 1. Inheritable, your turn for every 3 cards in your security stack. This Digimon gets +1 KDP. You don't see it often, that inheritable, but sometimes, like, if you have to switch up your game plan and you're not trying to sit there for an hour to deck out your opponent, sometimes you get a little antsy and you want to just play regular Digimon. You swing at them. The inheritable's great for that, especially with the other cards that we have, the level 6s. So I mean, it's a mainstay in your security control deck, in my opinion. If you got yellow, um, love the artwork, love the effect, love the card. People hate it, so it's good.
Yeah, we do.
So the 4 of MagnaAnge, along with its ace, spicy tech. At least at the time, not so spicy anymore. Long Dong Ace.
Yep.
So Azulongmon Ace, when I first saw this, which finals was it?
Oh man. I think it was at Nats was second place was a security control player. I think.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Or you
And
saw it in
when
a
I
YouTube video or something. I don't remember.
yeah, like because Peter and I watched that, and I just thought that was so cracked. Because at the time, like Ace was kind of new to our play group and stuff, so we were fiddling around with it. But the most we really delved in at the time was kind of just like we had some Rust Tyranno stuff that we were doing shenanigans with, and I was, oh, that's kind of cool. That's
Yep.
fun to play around with. The starter deck aces were fun to play around with.
Yep.
I never really delved into any of the other aces. And this archetype in particular, I just never really like knew a lot about. So I never looked at the cards. And when I saw that dude that got second playing this, I was like, man, that's kind of bonkers. What does it even do? Read the effect. It is absolutely cracked. It's a 7 play cost for 12k DP. On Digivolve, it's a cost of 3 over a Diva. But otherwise, you're Digivolving for 4, which you're going to be Digivolving for 4. But it's not bad. A lot of time, you're just blast acing. It feels really good to just hard play this and
Yep.
then just blast ace over it. I mean,
That is
that's
the
always
play.
fun. You don't really care for the overflow as much because essentially passing your turn and giving your opponent another turn is having them draw another time. So big brain plays, very powerful. And as for the effect, hand counter, blast Digivolve, on play when Digivolving, return one of your opponent's level 5 or lower Digimon to hand. Then unsuspend one of your Digimon with Diva, 4 Great Dragons, or 4 Sovereigns trait. And on deletion, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with the highest level. So you're bouncing the guy, and then when he gets deleted inevitably, you get to delete highest level. Very, very, very powerful. There's not much to say. I could only fit 2 in. I thought 2 felt great. But you can switch it up however you want. I mean, if I could add more, I think I would add more. I don't know how many. Probably only one more. Three might be pretty fun. Depends on your table. Depends on your play group. But I think this card's fantastic. And honestly, even if you're not like blast digivolving or digivolving in general with it, just hard playing this thing, like it's an out on a stick. Very good. It's a very powerful card overall. I like it.
Yeah, the overflow doesn't feel too bad when you think about the fact that the deck is probably paying 8 to remove something anyways. So if you
Right.
double overflow a stack, you're effectively paying 7 to remove a body. And you get to bounce
Right.
something to hand, and you'll do whatever the card underneath did, which is either going to be recovering 1 and popping a body, or just recovering 1. So effectively, you're paying 7 memory to recover 1, bounce a body, possibly delete a body, and then delete another body. So that's 7
Exactly.
memory well spent.
It just feels so good. I mean, and if they blow your guy up, you give them back that 7 memory. Let's say it's, blast digit over this. They've got an overflow of 4. I mean, realistically, they're playing into your game plan as a security control player, right? So they're going to draw because they're going to get another turn. They're going to probably swing into your security if they don't know what they're doing, or if they inevitably only can do that, they do that. Um, so then you get all of your option bombs and stuff. I mean, you recover so much anyway; it really doesn't matter. So that's the beauty of this deck, and the unfun part of the deck. I mean, you could just sit there. We actually gave this deck to one of our newer players at our table, and it was just so autopilot, and they didn't even know what they were doing. They're very new to Digimon.
Yep.
And yeah, I mean, now just imagine someone that actually like knows how to play the game and has played it for a while. This is a very unfun deck to play against. It's very powerful. Um, yeah, and I mean, I personally feel like it really scales with your knowledge of card games as well. Because me coming from Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh, really like playing Control. In Pauper, I love playing Tempo. So like, just playing this against Digimon just feels like I am playing a Control Magic deck against a Digimon player, and then all of the innate game mechanics of Digimon just help me win because they're doing them.
Yep.
Oh, you just Digivolved the whole stack. Well, you just drew so many cards off that. You're just
Yep.
helping me deck you out.
It's lost
So
resources for the opponent.
exactly. On to our last level 6. Shadow Seraphimon. Love this card. 12 play cost, 12k DP body. Digivolves over a black or yellow for 4. Yeah, this card is nuts. I love the alternate art. Um, yeah, I mean this thing's just a beast. You put it over any of your level 5s, which you only got 2. It's just awesome. It just sits there. You don't have to do anything. Its presence is menacing. Like this guy has to be arrested when he's played. He's really good.
Yeah, that's an instant kill target. That is. Do not let
Yeah,
that
for
sit on the
sure.
board.
For sure. So yeah, his effect, opponent's turn. When a card is removed from your security stack, de-digivolve one of your opponent's Digimon, and on deletion, you recover one, and then one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 4k DP for the turn for each card in your security stack. I think we can all agree that minus DP is fantastic removal. It is very powerful, and most of the time you have a full stack or more. So, I mean, you do the math, 5 times 4k. That's a dead stack. That's a dead Digimon right there. It's very powerful. Pretty decent sized body too, 12k DP. It's bigger when you have MagnaAngemon under it. Just a really good card.
It's a great card. I hate that card.
Yeah, it is very annoying. It is very annoying. I've played around with a lot of other level 6s too. Like at first I was kind of just doing the Seraphy package, you know, you play the regular Seraphy, Digivolve for 1 over this, and like it's cool and all, but I don't
The Azulong is way better.
I think Azulong's way better. It gives you more options. It's just like it's a Swiss Army knife kind of thing. And when I play Control, I really like toolboxy, you know. I want options. No pun intended.
Speaking of options,
Yeah, like I want options. Show me my options.
show us your options. What do you got?
Yeah.
Let's see them.
Well, actually, we have one more Digimon.
Oh no.
We have level 7s. We have 2 level 7s. You can run as many as you want, but I like to cosplay as the Monopoly Man, so I have 2 copies of DeathXmon. Yeah, so I mean, if you watch the channel, you know what Peter's deck was when he went to his tournament online, and we would practice a lot. And I just wanted to give him as hard a time as I could with this deck because we kind of figured he was going to play against security control. I don't think you saw it at all.
Nope. I
which
didn't see a
is
single one.
great. Which is great. But at least he got his training arc out of the way. Yeah, I mean, I've seen decklists online that run for this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my reign as Monopoly Man ended in jail, so you know I couldn't afford that. But if I could for Death X, I mean it's a little overkill. But like at 2, I definitely feel like I see this guy every game.
Yeah.
I definitely see him every game, and that's all you really want with your card. You want to ensure that your ratios are right, so you can see it at the opportune time you need it. And for me, I think 2 is great. I have other options in the deck as well for wide board removal. You don't always want a body with that wide board removal. Sometimes you just want to clear the board.
Yep.
But Death X is great. I really, really like Death X. So his effect, play cost 20, 15k DP, really big guy. Digivolves for 6 over level 6 purple or black. And his effect is when you play this card, reduce its memory cost by 3 for each Digimon and Tamer your opponent has in play. On play when Digivolving, de-digivolve 1, all of your opponent's Digimon. Then delete all of your opponent's level 4 or lower Digimon. At the end of opponent's turn, once per turn, delete all of your opponent's Digimon with the lowest play cost. So, yeah, I mean, it's pretty self explanatory. He's badass, really big body.
Good for swinging with.
Yeah, I mean, you could start just swinging with this if you play this, really. And then at that point, your opponent has to be worried: am I going to get decked out, or is my security going to be gone? Is he going to win the normal way? Which is really weird for this deck, but you know, sometimes you have to do it. It depends on your matchup, and having this guy really, really helps with either game plan. So 2 DeathXmon for my list. Could definitely substitute it out for something else. Before I played DeathXmon, before I had it even, I was just going with this word defeat. I did a few shenanigans with that. What was it? Tactical retreat.
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun with tactical retreat. I mean, you run like 3 or 4 of that. If it's insecurity, you recover 1. Fantastic card. If they hit a Zwart, you just tactical retreat it back.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, there's just so many things you can do with security control, which is great. But 2 DeathXmon for my list. On to tamers. The tamers, I don't want to say they make the deck, but they definitely help it run for sure. So we've got 2 Kari, memory setter, start of turn, 2 memory or less, set it to 3. Your turn, when a card is added to your security stack, you may suspend this tamer, gain 1 memory. We recover a lot, so you gain a lot of memory with this.
Yep.
Um,
Does its job.
yeah, I
It's a good
mean,
tamer.
huh?
Does its job pretty good. It's a good
Yeah,
tamer.
it does its job really well. You'd be surprised. I mean, just getting to gain that memory. I only run it at 2 because of the other tamers. But it is nice to have a memory setter, obviously. A lot of time you're trying to choke your opponent out on memory. So sometimes you recover, you gain, like, if you have both of these out, which inevitably the game plan is you got all your tamers out by the end of the game. You're just completely controlling the board state, the memory gauge. There's really not much they can do. Sometimes you got that option, and you're like, man, if only I had a couple more memory, and you recover, you get that couple more memory, and now they have 1 memory, you're passing it over, and your opponent just wants to scoop. So it's pretty good. I see a lot of different ratios. I personally like Kari at 2. You can run it at whatever you feel is good. I just think the other tamers, like Mimi's nuts, 2 play cost, all turns, which very keyword is all turns. When a player uses an option, you may suspend this tamer and gain a memory. So, I mean, your opponent's trying to find an out, they're trying to do something, and you're just stealing turn from them left and right. I think this definitely deserves a higher ratio than this, just for my deck list. Uh, Pairing that with the main tamer of the deck, uh, another Kari Kamiya, play cost of 3. When a card is removed from your security stack, you may suspend this tamer to gain 1 memory. It is all turns as well. These 2 you really want to see. I run them high. I don't run 4 of Mimi just because. I think 3 is good. Sometimes you have to cut corners to fit other cards in your deck, and I think keeping her at 3 is great. So I just do a 4-3-2. Works out great. Yeah, I mean, this card is just so stellar in the deck. I don't even know if security control really could be a thing without these guys here. There's definitely different flavors of security control you can run, but I love playing control, and these guys definitely do that aspect of the deck very, very well.
Yeah, they definitely just choke you. I don't think you can understate how much that card combination stops you as an opponent from doing things. Because if you swing, not only are you going to get punished by either hitting an option or hitting a tamer that gives the opponent more value, but you're going to lose memory for however many carries they have, with the potential
Right,
to hit another Kari that gives them more memory. If you try and use an
right.
option to get yourself out of a situation, they're going to steal memory.
Yep.
Uh, and you're still like potentially going to hit something that kills you. Like there's no way to win when those 2 cards are set up on the board.
Yeah, it's such a powerful combo. I mean, the play costs are so low. They might not memory set, but the amount of memory that they net you throughout the entirety of the game, on top of the benefits of just controlling your opponent's turn in a game where the game mechanics make it so that when it's their turn, it's their turn. It's just crazy. Um, and there's a reason security controls was so powerful for so long because of that. It's a very good card. Definitely 4. If you're doing it lower, I would love to know how, because like this card is just so bomb. It's so stellar, very, very powerful. I personally couldn't see myself going down any lower than 4, and the same goes for the Mimis. I couldn't go lower than 3. I really like 3,
Yep.
but it also depends on your meta. Maybe you don't have a lot of options in your meta, so maybe you don't run it at 3. But that's what I like to run it at. So this is the lineup for our Digimon. We will go on to the options, which is the meat and potatoes of the deck, really.
Yeah, for real. That's what makes security control. So that is where I
Exactly.
think that's where the flavor kind of comes in for the deck. Definitely a Zulongmon is a good tech card. Tamers are interesting, but for the most part, they tend to be relatively similar. But options, I think, are where you can see the influence of a local play group the most for a security control profile.
For sure. I just love seeing other people's deck profiles too. I mean, the spice that some people come up with for this stuff. I mean,
Yeah,
when you made a security deck,
Oh, mine was just
security
all
control.
security Digimon. It was
Yeah,
just
which is hilarious to me. And at the time, I was like, "What is that?" But the
yeah.
more I think about it, it's like there's probably a home for that deck
Well,
somewhere.
yeah, because if we're strictly speaking like tit for tat, if you hit me, I get a body to hit you back with. So if I hard play a body, now I'm going to hit you 6 times in the time it takes you to hit me 5 times. And that's just,
Right.
I mean, those on play security effects are going to net me value. Like Cordramon is going to draw me cards and stuff like that. So
Exactly. Plus, it's a nice flavor because you're going wide too. You're not playing control. You're
yeah,
just going
everything I do
wide.
goes wide. So
Yeah, exactly. Nothing wrong with it. So to start it off, we're running 4 Holy Wave. Um, yeah, I mean six cost option. Main trigger recovery 1 and security. You activate the main card's effect. So it's like it's bonkers,
basically
And
four
again,
more copies of MagnaAngemon.
pretty much, yeah. You just don't get the body.
Yeah, but you get the memory back on Mimi, which is debatably better.
True, very very true. So I mean, this is a card I think has to stay in the deck no matter what. This is a core card. Getting to recover, your opponent smacks your security and they see that, it just feels bad, you know. So Holy Wave 4, very good card. Next, I am running a playset of Flame Hellscythe. Same play cost of 6. Main effect: one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 6 KDP for turn. Then play 1 purple or yellow Digimon card with 6 KDP or less from your trash without paying its memory cost. So this card, I've seen some people go lower than 4, which is perfectly okay. I think 3 is a pretty good sweet spot too. I just like 4 because I really like minus DP effect. It pairs in combos really well with your other minus DP effects in the deck. And getting to bring back your MagnaAnge is kind of bonkers. You can't bring back
The Ace
Ace,
version. Yeah.
but just being able to bring back this guy a bunch and recovering a ton, bringing back any of your floodgates just out of nowhere after popping a body feels really good too. This is also part of the reason why we don't run more Pillomon, because we won't be able to activate that second part of the effect. But I mean, if you need to pop a body, you pop a body, and if you want to recover, you essentially you get to pick what second plus do I want. Do I want to not allow them to play any more stuff? Do I want to stop reducing Digivolution costs, or do I just want to recover and stall out the game some more? Very good card. Setting up that body again too, just so you can blast Digivolve is fantastic. It's so powerful. Um, or just going into a Shadow Seraphy, bonkers. Now they'd have to figure out a way of getting rid of that guy, or they just die every time. Like it's. I like Flame Hellscythe, so I personally run it at 4. I can definitely see people running it lower depending on what options they choose. But
Mm-hmm.
again, it's a control deck. Whatever spice you want to add, you add. You should really gear it towards your play group. So for Hellscythe, the next option that we run, we're getting into the bigger boys, the main bombs. Um, we've got 4 Wyvern's Breath. Now, a lot of people like Lonky. For my play group, I just don't think Lonky is as powerful. Really, no one, as of right now, plays stuff that goes over 15 KDP when it's my turn. So I can just blow stuff up.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah,
the
the
security
issue
effect.
we were
Mhm.
finding with Lonky was that you would put my stuff in security, and then it would just come out of security into trash, and then I would get to play my stuff because I play from trash. So Wyvern's Breath,
Yeah.
it just felt like a more immediate solution. I guess that was also when you were swinging more, so you were putting stuff back in. I guess it's gonna die either way, but Wyvern's Breath just
Yeah.
generically feels good. It just hits everything.
Yeah, it's very very powerful in my opinion still, and I mean the artwork's cool too. So
Yeah, that helps.
I do like good artwork. And then another staple for this deck, the big bomb, one of the best removals, Chaos Dig. We all know it. Some love it, most hate it,
I hate it.
um, and rightfully so. It is very very good. So another 8 cost option, big bomb. Main effect: place one of your opponent's Digimon face down at the top or bottom of opponent's security stack. Very important. Granted, we don't attack a lot, but if you're having to switch your game plan playing this deck to attacking, if you're resorting to that and it's a really big body, throw it on the bottom, save it for last, or get it out of the way, put it on top if you need to, and then swing into it with your Shadow Seraphine, and it blows up, you kill a guy, you recover. There's a lot of different routes you can take with this deck, given its very simple at face value mechanics, but this card's really good. And then for the secondary effect, if you do, you trash the top card of your opponent's security stack. So you can throw whatever you want on top, trash it, throw it on bottom, trash the top if you know what it is, or if you don't, you just feel like doing it. Very good card. Security effect is a bit different than your main. Security effect is you may place one of your opponent's Digimon face down at top or bottom. You don't get to trash. That's the only downside. But I mean, it's not even really a downside in my opinion because this card is just so powerful. So, very good card. Keep it at 4. And then we have our last 3 options. It's all kind of just spicy tech. I'm running 2 Schwarz. You get so many tamers on board, and we don't really have any tamer hate at our table. And even when we do, I have so many other ways of getting around that kind of stuff that drawing a Schwarz as just a dead card in your hand doesn't always hurt. Sometimes you just want to get rid of 1 or 2 level 5 or lowers. But the main effect, play cost of 6. For each Digimon with hybrid and its traits, and each tamer you have in play, which is the main thing we're worried about, delete one of your opponent's level 5 or lower Digimon. So we run... How many do we run? We run
You have
9 tamers.
Yeah.
So, I mean, at most with this, we can get rid of 9 level 5 or lower Digimon. I think that gets rid of most boards. I don't know about you guys. But really powerful card. Playing against Peter a ton, it was just super needed. I didn't really have a lot of outs at the time, which is part of the reason why I got the Death X. It broke the bank, and then I'm like, well, how do I do the same thing as Death X without having to get more Death X?
Yep.
Because I already had the 1 Schwarz, so I was like, screw it, let's get a second Schwarz. And it's great. It's really powerful. Yeah, I don't know. I personally, I think if you're trying to take out single targets, these guys do the job most of the time,
Yep.
no matter what. But if you need even single target removal of just like, let's say, a stack that they're building, right? Schwarz is great.
Yeah, it's worth mentioning too. I have seen you, if you have that Kari setup in play, the memory setter, and you have multiple Mimis, like you have absolutely smacked my board, like cleared 3 or 4 bodies, and then passed me at 1 by tapping 2 Mimis when you have the memory setter. Like that, the 6 cost is kind of a really great spot for security control options because you can put me at 1 or 2, or potentially I've seen you keep turn after Schwartzing before, and then you get even more value, and it's absurd. That card is absurd.
Yeah, I think this card is kind of undervalued. I think it's pretty good. Again, just my opinion, but it also depends on what you're playing against. At our play group, I really appreciate this card, even when it's not playing against what I teched it in for, personally. Still great removal, great cost. And then the last card of the deck, might not be that surprising. Reinforcing Memory Boost. I don't run any other Memory Boost for obvious reasons. We don't run a lot of creatures. Trainings I don't run just because it's hard getting the space in your list for certain things that you want. And I think how I have my deck ratioed out is tailored very specific for me. So any of these ratios you can change. Some people don't like the reinforcing memory boost. I think it's kind of a staple personally. That's just me. The card's restricted for a reason, and it does everything you want that this deck would do. I mean, if you could run more of this, yeah, like you can't tell me you wouldn't want to in a security control deck. That's just me.
Yeah,
But play cost 6, main, reveal top 2 of your deck, place one of them on top of security stack face down, add the remaining card to your hand, then place this card in your battle area. Its main delay, you trash this from battle area to activate the effect, you gain 3 memory. Its security effect, place this card into owner's battle area. So if it gets hit in security, you just got 3 free memory. If you're playing at hard play from hand, you're recovering and you're getting to draw a card. So getting to scry, recover, and then just draw, that's kind of nuts. You get 3 memory later, so you can keep doing memory gauge shenanigans, just passing them at 1. It's really good.
Yeah.
Um,
Whole deck profile is really good. It's a really strong, really strong deck. I definitely recommend you guys try some flavor of security control at least once, because not only will it help you understand a little bit better what you're playing against, but it is definitely one of those decks that can help with your decision making skills. It relies a lot on knowing what your opponent is doing and understanding how their deck works. So it really only helps your growth as a Digimon player in that aspect.
for sure. I mean, when I started playing this deck at first, like we would always joke around and meme about the fact that like, oh, don't build security control, really powerful deck, and it is genuinely a powerful deck. But for me, I learned a lot of matchups just by playing this deck. Um, it's not every matchup where you can just do whatever you want, but this deck definitely feels like you can do almost whatever you want. But if you make a minor mistake and your opponent is smart enough, they can take game from you. That being said, it definitely, this deck forces your opponent to play a different flavor of Digimon. Like you can just throw your core mechanics out. Like you do not want to be drawing a bunch against this deck. You really want to think about your resources. You want to think about your plays. And it's the same with this deck, except they just have to think a little bit less.
Yeah.
Um,
All right. Well, with that, thank you guys for watching the video. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Thank you to Harry for coming, making some time to show us your deck profile.
heck yeah.
Thank you guys for watching, and have a great day.
Bye.